Legendary Duelist Sisters of the Rose introduces new cards for deck themes used by some of the most successful dueling heroines from throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history. Marks the second appearance of Mai Valentine, who made the top cut of both major tournaments in the original series, but it also includes cards for some of the lesser-known heroines who were pretty darn good at this game. One of those duelists is Anna Kaboom from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, whose deck, colloquially referred to as Rank 10 Trains, excels at putting a hurting on the opponent at incredible speeds. Now, this deck is not actually tied together through any specific name, so it's not, train this or harpy that sort of thing. Instead, this is a deck that's based on its attribute and its typing. In this case, it's Earth and Machine. That means that it's a deck that can use support cards from a wide variety of different decks as long as they work with Earth and Machine monsters. So for example, you could take Machine Fortress from the old Machine of Mayhem structure deck, put it in this deck, which is full of high-level machine-type monsters that you can discard with it, and they can work together. The specific goal of this deck is to field multiple level 10 monsters that you can use to Xyz summon an extremely powerful rank 10 Xyz monster like Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gustav Max, which is 3,000 attack and defense and lets you detach a material to just make your opponent take 2,000 damage. Now with the new cards from Sisters of a Rose, you don't have to stop there. Why stop at rank 10 when you can go to 11? And use Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Juggernaut Liba to pump things up a little more. So with these new cards, the goal is not just summon Gustav Max, do damage. It's summon Gustav Max, do damage. Rather go over here, that's where the graveyard would be. And then place this monster on top and do even more damage. So the way Libe works is you can use a rank 10 Machine Xyz monster you control as the material, put it on top, transfer the materials over, and then you can detach again to give this monster plus 2,000 attack. So it starts at 4,000, detaching makes it 6,000, and then it has another ability that lets it attack a number of monsters on the field equal to its Xyz materials plus 1, which means you can attack 2 monsters with a 6,000 attacker. After the 2,000 damage from Gustav Max, that ought to be enough to win the game. But how do you get to that point? Well, there are a few things that you should know. So the first thing that you need to do is get multiple level 10 monsters on the field. Knight Express Knight over here can be normal summoned without tributing, but its attack becomes 0. And then Super Express Bullet Train, one of the new cards from Sisters of the Rose, can be special summoned from your hand if, and only if, all monsters you control are Earth machines. And you have to have at least one, so you can't just drop the Bullet Train on an empty field. That's an easy way to do it. Just get 2 monsters that way. Now the problem is, you can't really do this going first. So the way that you play this deck is almost like going to the train station and waiting for your train. You want to build up your resources, defend yourself in the process, and then when the time is right, you spring all your monsters at once and plow through your opponent's life points. Now, it's not just these 2 monsters that you can put on the field. For example, you can defend yourself with Construction Train Signal Red or Snowplow Hustle Rustle over here. They can be special summoned from your hand when your opponent's attacking. Doesn't matter what kind of attack here with Train Signal Red, but it does need to be a direct attack with Snowplow Hustle Rustle, and you do need to have a spell or trap card in your spell and trap zone, because you have to destroy them to special summon Hustle Rustle. And it comes out in defense with 3,000 defense, so it's a pretty good way to defend yourself. Now, the great thing about the cards that go with this deck, the spell and trap cards, is that you are totally okay with destroying them, because, as you can see, Urgent Schedule, Special Schedule, and Barrage Blast over here all do things when they're in the graveyard. In particular, you want Urgent Schedule and Special Schedule, because they let you add a level 10 machine from your deck to your hand or from your graveyard to your hand, respectively, if they're destroyed. And that's not even counting how good these cards are in general when you actually play them. Urgent Schedule is a card that if you play any sort of Earth Machine deck, you probably want to be keeping an eye on. Because if your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can use this quick play spell to summon 2 of them from your deck. 1 level 4 or lower, 1 level 5 or higher. Now there are a couple conditions and restrictions on what you can do in that case. You can only attack with machine monsters that turn if you do it, but you get 2 cards out of your deck, and that's pretty good. Now the 2 monsters you get with Urgent Schedule hit the field in defense position, so even though they're machines, they're not going to do any attacking anyways. What you really want to do with them is use them to link summon something. Doesn't really matter what, preferably something that can give your monsters more attack points. It could just be Mrs. Radiant. After you get them in the graveyard, what you want to do is normal summon Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede, which has one of the greatest card names of all time in my estimation. I can't look at it without imagining, Pegasus, creator of duel monsters, times 100, running down the railroad tracks in Arizona or something like that. That's my idea of a Flying Pegasus Railroad Stampede. Maybe he's got wings. I don't know. He made the game. He can do whatever he wants. But this card does 2 things. When you normal or special summon it, you get an Earth Machine type monster from your graveyard, except another copy of this, and you summon that out in defense with its effects negated. And then the other effect of this card lets you target another Earth Machine you control and then match the levels between the 2. Either this becomes the same as the other, or the other becomes the same as this. So in this particular case, you're going to have this level 4 monster become a level 10 monster so that you can use it for Gustav Max and then go into Libe and then hopefully win the game in short order afterwards. Now this could take a little while to get to, but there are some other cards from outside of Sisters of the Rose that you could use to make it go a little faster. One of them is the field spell Revolving Switchyard. That's from the Dark Illusion and lets you trade cards in hand for level 10 Earth Machines from your deck. And in terms of level 10 Earth Machines from your deck, well, you're probably going to want Heavy Freight Train Derricrane, which can be special summoned from your hand with its stats halved when you summon an Earth Machine type monster. And on top of that, you're probably going to want some defensive options for when you do things like Go First. Now, trap cards are generally pretty good here. You've got all Earth Machines, so Goes and Match and Rivalry of Warlords are both in play, both help you, and, well, most opposing decks can't really deal with that. But you probably also want a more defensive Xyz monster as well. And the Dark Illusion brought that as well with number 81, Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Super Dora. Super Dora has 4,000 defense, so if you were to go first, you would want to plunk this out in defense position, and then use its effect to make it unaffected by other card effects, so that when you roll back over to your turn, you could then use it for Libe. And if you're looking for even more Earth Machines that do level modulation things and Xyz summon, then I might be a little interested in the Infinity Chasers, an upcoming booster set from the end of March. I believe March 22nd is when that releases. And the new Infinitrack monsters, which are Earth Machines that have some pretty excellent Xyz monsters and level manipulation abilities of their own. Like I mentioned before, these sort of things are modular. You can pick up the best cards from one, put it in the other deck, and vice versa, and come up with a really cool, powerful, and unique deck of your own. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.